All right. Well, welcome back to another Sunday live stream, everyone. Sorry about the thumbnail. Um, I needed, I should have put together a new one, but I just been a busy weekend, I guess. So apologies for that. I will get a custom thumbnail uploaded for this video. Um, but we are starting our first live stream for the fitness section. We're kind of stepping away from the aquariums for a little while. You'll still get those monthly videos, but otherwise, I don't have too much else I'm going to go on with aquariums. Been talking about it a lot. So now we're going to switch gears and talk about kind of my other passion, which is fitness and nutrition. I have done a video in the past kind of talking about my background, but for those of you who haven't seen it, because I think it's a bit of a longer video, a brief synopsis is basically lifting since sophomore in high school. So it's a little over 10 years now. Got real serious in college to the point where, like, later years in college, I probably was good enough that I could have competed, but it's expensive. So it was really more of just like a personal goal and challenges for me to see how far I could get to prove things to myself. I didn't feel the need to prove to anyone else. But then along with that, I kind of fell in love with the nutrition side. As a scientist, I found that really fascinating to be able to adjust your what we'll talk about macros here in a minute, and see the results, see changes. It's a lot of tweaking, but using yourself as the guinea pig. And I was perfectly okay with that. And I like to see, what changes what results my changes would cause. So anyway, I'm not planning on keeping this video too long because I got a busy day ahead of me. So got lots of chores and things, water changes and such to take care of. So I'm going to try and keep this under 30 minutes. If you have questions about anything I talk about, or if I need to go in more depth, anything like that, feel free to leave a comment. Or if you're watching this video in the future, then leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. All right. But we're going to start with talking about macros. Now, I'm going to jump ahead and basically assume that you all know what a calorie is, what protein is, what fat is, and what carbohydrates are, and fiber. If you don't, I would recommend you finding other videos that kind of go a little more in depth. But since that's kind of basic biology, they teach you it in school, things like that. It's on the back of every food you buy, basically. I don't feel the need to kind of go in depth on that. But what we're going to talk about is that breakdown, how to find the numbers that you need in a day, adjustments to that, all kinds of information about that. So one thing I'm going to do is hopefully the people watching will follow along and do this with me, is a 30-day challenge that oh my goodness. Sorry, I am very tired. It's been a long morning already. Already went and got a workout in. So anyway, a 30-day challenge where I am going to be counting my macros again. I feel like 30 days will hopefully get me moving enough that I will get kind of back into the routine of doing it. I've been bad about it lately, and the dinners have been good, but I feel like the desserts are kind of getting away from me, even though I am doing like 17 to 20 hours of fasting a day, and fasted workouts and all of that. I still think there's too much with the desserts. So I need to get that in check. And I think the best way to do that is start counting macros again. Now, there's calculators out there that can help you kind of calculate your macros. Take it with a grain of salt. It's going to be a lot of what your calories are to maintain when you don't see a weight fluctuate, or when you don't see weight gain or loss. That's basically what I'm saying. So that's going to take some time. And I know we're going to talk about macros, and people are going to say, well, why are you talking about calories? And the point is that you have to kind of, one still goes hand in hand with the other. But my focus more is on the macros, but you have to know your daily calorie intake to figure out what your macros need to be. Now, with that said, I think the most important thing for macros is your protein. Getting that is the essential part. And for me, what I shoot for is about 1 gram per pound of body weight. Some people may shoot higher than that. I've gone as high as 2 grams per pound of body weight when I was in college and lifting real hardcore. I think that's a little excessive, even for a real hardcore lifter. But I would say if you're a regular lifter, 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein is important for daily muscle growth and development. But you can go as low as like 0.7. Now, look, the rest is going to be on your carbohydrates and your fats. Now, a lot of people are going to say focus more on carbs, focus more on fats. There's still a lot of debate out there. Like I said, most important thing for me is getting that protein in, and then from there, making sure that I get enough fiber. Now, there's still some debate about how much fiber you should do, but generally for a guy my size, I'm shooting for 20 to 30 grams of fiber a day. That may seem like a lot, but I think if you actually look at it and start counting your macros, then you will quickly realize that it's not that hard if you're eating, semi-healthy food. So past the protein and the fiber, I would say then you have a lot more flexibility in your carbohydrates versus your fats. Of course, there's a lot of in-depth science arguing don't have fats and carbs, and I could go into it, but it would honestly bore you and drive you crazy. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a message or leave a comment, and I'll be happy to go in more depth about that. But for the sake of everything, I think the fats and the carbs are not as important which you're having. The ultimate goal is to reach that calorie number that you are shooting for, and making sure you get that protein and the fiber. Those are the two biggest things in my opinion. And then from there, we start getting a little more nitpicky into what kind of carbohydrates, what kind of fats, poly versus mono, or saturated and unsaturated, and the sources and yada, yada, and it goes on and on. But for a beginner, just to dip your toe in, the important thing, in my opinion, if you are going to do this 30-day challenge with me, is 1, daily protein intake. Again, 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound, and that includes girls. Do not think because you're a girl you should not have protein. Wrong. Get it out of your mind. I don't know where you got this crazy conspiracy. It's not true. So 0.7 to 1 pound of protein, especially if you're working out. You may go closer to that 0.7 grams of protein per pound if you are not working out that regularly. But I would say 1, because protein is satiating, and 2, it still can help with muscle development. Even if you aren't in the gym, you still just day-to-day use can be important. So that's why I find protein very important. And then fiber, of course, everyone's got to poop. So you got to get some fiber in there. And then past there, you probably want a multivitamin just to cover all your bases. I think that's a good coverage thing. And then from there, you got the fats and the carbs. Again, you will have to figure out what your calories are, kind of, mess around with that for a little while. It's going to take some tweaking to figure out then how many fats and how many carbs you need. All right, so that's the basics of the macros that we're going to talk about. So I'm just going to try and write this down really quick while I talk. We'll see how this goes. But what we're going to talk about next is how you keep track of all that. Now, what I use is MyFitnessPal. I like it a lot. I find it very handy, and once you get accustomed to using it, it becomes easier and easier, because as you'll probably find, 70 to 80% of the things you have in a day is going to be the same. And so you continuously will use the same items, and it's easier to build a routine and easier to just check off all those items. And so once I'm not going to go through how it works and everything. I will let you kind of play around with it, or you may need to find a different way to do it. I've known people who are just pen and paper, people who are going to be doing, I don't know, different programs, something on their computer, Excel spreadsheets even. So far, that's the important takeaways. Protein 0.7 to 1 gram per pound. Fiber, I'm shooting for 20 to 30 grams. I think that's a pretty decent range for everyone. You might be able to go a little under if you're very small. Anyway, we're going to move on to the, sorry, my light just went off. Anyway, while I get that back on, the app, whatever program you're going to be using, it's important so that you are cataloging all of this. I like MyFitnessPal because it has a nice breakdown. It even gives you a pie chart and things, especially, which can be especially helpful if you are kind of a keto person and you're shooting for a percentage of daily intake as fat instead of, a certain number of grams maybe. So that's an option too. But further on that, it's very important to have a way to catalog it. You can kind of, once you get really good, kind of do it in your head. But I think that the cataloging it is going to be the best way for you to see the results and success that you want. And it's a way that even if you're not working out at all, that you can actually make losses or gains in body weight just by keeping track of what you're eating in an average day. Even if you're not comfortable with going to the gym, or you're not, you don't have the gym time availability, anything like that, adjusting your macros can make your body weight go up and down very easily without ever having to step foot in a gym. So keeping track of them is going to be important. Now, it's going to be a pain in the butt in the beginning. I'm not going to lie, because you kind of have to count out everything. You can't just eyeball it. You're going to need to pull out a scale. You're going to need to weigh out what you're going to be doing. So, for example, my weekly meal prep, which will kind of segue us into our second section, is pesto chicken. Now, that's just very simple. It's going to be chicken in chunks that will then have pesto sauce added to it, and that will be the main ingredient. On MyFitnessPal, you can create a recipe, so I can plug all that in, and it just says pesto chicken, how many servings that I plan on it being, and done. So that makes it very easy for, like, if you do a casserole, you can plug all the ingredients into one thing that says casserole, how many servings, and then when it goes time to eat it, yeah, it might take a little bit of time to make the recipe, put it all together, but once you're done, easy, just like click, done. Simple way to keep track of everything. But on to the meal prep. So this week is pesto chicken. But I'm not planning it in any one form. I have salads that I plan on it being the primary dish with, but I will also be doing some pasta. I have bread for maybe like a sandwich if someone wants, or like wraps, tortillas. So I could do like a pesto chicken wrap, just some things to switch it up so that you have the main ingredient, but then on a nightly night by night basis. It doesn't always have to be the same. Maybe one night you went to the gym and actually worked out, so you want some more carbs in your diet and you add the noodles in. But most nights you're not going to the gym because you're too busy, and so you just do a salad with the pesto chicken. But that way it should be pretty easy to throw together. I feel like meal prep should be done for us. I like it once a week, but you could do it twice a week if you really don't like eating the same thing for 6 to 7 days in a row. I totally understand that. So maybe doing 3 to 4 days in a row and then getting something else for the second half of the week. Or maybe you have a weird work schedule and you got like a Wednesday and a Sunday off, and you can do meal prep Wednesday and on Sunday. But I find meal prep very helpful, especially when counting macros, because it makes things simple and, again, repetitive, so that you're going to build that routine of using the same 70 to 80% of the ingredients. And that'll make it that much easier to log and that much faster, because for most of the time, especially on these apps and things, it'll already be pre-programmed in there. And then it might take an adjustment of the size, ounces, grams, whatever it may be. But, that might take 5 seconds once you've got that kind of framework and frequently like paired items. But do whatever works for you. If it's the pen and paper method, then do that. Excel is another option that I've seen out there, or there's tons of apps, websites, and things that can help you take care of all of that. So, but find a way to keep track of the macros and then pair it with meal prep. And I think you have a winning combination to easily catalog things, and an easy way that you're not changing up your diet all the time. And you can focus on making a nice healthy meal. And then even if you have a few snacks here and there, or a drink or something, we're all human. You aren't going off the rails because, say, your dinner or your lunch is all set up. If you want to go real pro, you can get all of those like Tupperware containers to make everything pre-made for the week, and then just shove them in there. And then it's all just like you pull a Tupperware container right out of the fridge, heat it up in the microwave, or just eat it cold, depending on what your meal is, and boom, you're done. So, meal prep ideas. There's so many out there. I can't even begin to describe. A website that I will shout out that, this is all free publicity for them, is Fit Men Cook or Fit Man Cook. I can't remember. But I've been following him since college and using his meal prep website. He has great videos. He definitely uses like spices and things, not just like pre-made packaging. He's really big on making your own sauces and everything. And I think that's great. It definitely helped me get a lot better at understanding complementary herbs and spices and things like that. So it definitely opened my eyes to different meal prep ideas and food combinations as well. It helped create my interest in the cooking aspect of it. Before, it was more of a daunting chore, and I was just like chicken and salad kind of person, just to keep it simple and lazy. And through his videos and meal prep ideas, I found a great interest in doing and joy in doing meal prep. And he's got it all measured out right there, so it's nice and easy. All you have to do is basically log in what he has. There might be some differences in the ingredients you're using, or you may add something or omit something, but he pretty much has the macro breakdown and everything in there all ready to go for you. So plenty of ideas if you're poor and in college and needing to do meal prep, or if you've got an extra amount of money and want to do something fancy. He's even got some really nice like salmon recipes in there too. So that is one place that I would recommend, but tons and tons of places for meal prep. Your crock pot is a great one. A big casserole dish will be a great friend. Larger size things just to help, pack it all in one place, make it nice and easy for you to get started. A frittata or something's a great first meal prep because it's simple, something you can throw in the oven, you're done, depending on what you're making. But I think that'll about wrap up everything. Again, I'm not trying to keep this too long. I know this was all over the place, but I think macros is kind of a basic concept that hopefully most people understand. Again, the primary things are your fats, your protein, your carbs, and it's not really a macro, but a fiber is important. So knowing your calories, then you can figure out your macro breakdown from there. Again, make sure you're hitting your daily fiber and your daily protein. Those are the most important things. And then past that, you can mess around with the carbs and the fats. Your body may react more positively to having more fats in your diet versus more carbs in your diet. That's a whole deeper topic, but you may just start noticing that as you kind of mess around with it. And then, of course, to make it easier on yourself to hit your macro goals, try and find a nice meal prep that's going to be easy for you to do or fun for you to do, and stick with that. You may even be able to meal prep desserts or lunches. Meal prep is meal prep. I only do it for dinner, but then again, I only have one big meal a day, so I'm only meal prepping my dinners. But in the past, I have done lunch, breakfast, all of that. But there's tons of recipes out there. I encourage you to search around and find, a repertoire, a glossary, just a virtual book, a real cookbook, whatever. But ideas that you can easily grab on hand quickly, look up, and just go to the store with it and, get that first meal prep done. And you get into the rhythm of doing it. Again, it doesn't have to be the whole meal prep, if that makes sense. Like I said, I'm doing pesto chicken, but then one night might be salads, one night might be wraps, one night might be with pasta, and then changing it up in there. Pesto chicken will be the mainstay or the meal prep part. Everything else is going to vary by how active my day was and what my carbohydrate needs or calorie needs are going to be for that day. Well, I think that about does it. I think tomorrow or early this coming week, my goal is to start working on muscle group videos using bands and dumbbells so that you all can kind of get some at-home ideas. I know that we're still struggling, at least here in the US, with quarantine problems and getting to the gym. Some people are doing it. Some people are not comfortable with doing it, and I completely understand that. So here are some ideas for various exercises you can do with some dumbbells that you can get for pretty cheap, and then some bands that I think even retail price on Amazon was like $70 altogether for like the door thing, and the bands themselves, which can get a lot of people very far. So I will be sure to start working on different muscle group exercises that you can do using bands and dumbbells. So those will probably be pre-recorded, and then I will be putting those up. Hopefully, I'd like to do one a week. It may be one every other week, but I'll be sure to get through every muscle group as we go through these live streams. So that's where I'm going to finish. I leave the challenge up to you all. I would like to see some other people join in with me. Leave a comment down below if you do join in and want to participate or have any questions about the challenge. But I'm going to be challenging myself for 30 days of counting my macros. I would hope you all would join in. You can maybe even challenge yourself further to add that 30 days with a meal or doing 30 days of meal prep as well. And I think by the end of those 30 days, you'll realize how easy it is to count your macros and how fluid and simple it'll become with meal prep, and how much more free time you're going to have in your daily life if you just go ahead and knock out your meal prep in advance. You can be saving an hour or two, honestly, a day. So if you want 8 to 12 hours of your life back in a week, I would say meal prep might not be a bad idea to consider. But that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, that's all I got. A thumbs up is greatly appreciated if you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of all over the place, but if you found it informative or educational or entertaining somehow, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. If you are looking forward to more fitness content or just found this page and want some more fitness content, then subscribe, and we'll be doing these live streams every week. And I'm planning on doing some muscle group videos so that we can talk about that too. Yeah, I think that's about all I got. Any questions or anything, comments down below, greatly appreciated. And I will see you all in the next video. Might be a muscle group, might be a live stream, haven't figured it out, but I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care.